This story about Mike and the mysterious lump on his head is both intriguing and a bit unsettling. It seems like a situation that combines both elements of suspense and the unexpected. For 15 long years, Mike carried around a lump on the back of his head, oblivious to the cause. The size of the lump, a large, pool bowl-sized mass, was not only a physical burden but also a source of daily discomfort. The pain he experienced each time the lump scraped against something, like the roof of his car, must have been a constant reminder of this strange, growing issue. The fact that Mike chose to address the lump in such a casual, almost impromptu way, having his grandson stick a needle into it in the yard, with a curious audience watching, adds an element of tension and perhaps even a bit of dark humor. People were likely expecting something dramatic, but the fact that nothing came out and that Mike felt no pain likely left everyone puzzled and uneasy. However, what followed next took the story into more serious territory. Realizing that the lump required professional attention, Mike went to the hospital. The discovery that awaited him was shocking. A corroded, jagged piece of metal had been embedded in his head for years. The metal fragment, worn down by years of exposure to his body, had caused the persistent lump through ongoing inflammation. The revelation of this foreign object likely brought a flood of memories back for Mike. The workplace accident he had almost forgotten about suddenly made sense. It was the moment that had caused years of discomfort and confusion. The fact that this small, overlooked injury had such a lasting impact is a reminder of how seemingly minor incidents can sometimes have significant, long-term consequences. In the end, Mike's decision to finally seek medical help after all those years of living with the lump was a life-changing one. The removal of the metal fragment not only relieved him of the physical burden but also closed a chapter on a mystery that had unknowingly been a part of his life for over a decade. The story leaves us with a mix of relief for Mike's recovery and a sense of wonder at how the human body can harbor such secrets for so long. After the surgery, Mike's life took a turn for the better. The absence of the lump, which had been a constant source of discomfort and embarrassment, allowed him to move freely without the fear of bumping his head or experiencing sudden jolts of pain. He no longer had to endure the strange looks and curious questions from others, nor did he have to explain why he had a mysterious bump on his head that he hadn't taken care of for so many years. The recovery process was surprisingly smooth. The doctors had done an excellent job of removing the metal fragment and ensuring that the surrounding tissue was healthy. Mike found himself with a renewed sense of energy and a noticeable improvement in his overall well-being. Without the constant physical and psychological weight of the lump, he felt lighter, more at ease, and ready to embrace life in ways he hadn't been able to for a long time. Mike's story became something of a local legend. People in his community were amazed at how he had lived with such a significant issue for so long, and they marveled at the unusual cause of the lump. It wasn't long before word spread beyond his town, with people sharing his story as a cautionary tale about the importance of not ignoring even the smallest injuries or health concerns. The experience also had a profound impact on Mike's relationships with his family. His grandson, who had been involved in the initial attempt to address the lump, was especially affected. The close call with the needle had been a wake-up call for the entire family, highlighting the importance of seeking proper medical care. Mike's ordeal brought them all closer together as they rallied around him during his recovery and celebrated his newfound health. As Mike reflected on the events that had transpired, he couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude. While the metal fragment had caused him years of discomfort, it had also taught him valuable lessons about resilience, the importance of self-care, and the significance of not taking one's health for granted. He became an advocate for regular checkups and encouraged others to pay attention to their bodies, no matter how insignificant an issue might seem. In the years that followed, Mike lived a life free from the burden of the lump that had once defined him. He returned to his hobbies, spending time with his family and enjoying the simple pleasures of life. The scar on the back of his head became a reminder of the journey he had been through, a symbol of survival, the body's remarkable ability to endure, and the importance of facing challenges head-on, no matter how long they have been present. Mike's story was a testament to the unexpected twists and turns life can take, and how sometimes the things we ignore can end up being the most significant. His experience served as a powerful reminder that taking care of oneself is not just about addressing the obvious, but also about being mindful of the hidden, the overlooked, and the things that might seem small but could have a big impact. And with that understanding, Mike moved forward, ready to embrace whatever life had in store for him next. As time passed, Mike's story grew beyond just a tale of medical curiosity. It became a symbol of perseverance and the importance of not letting fear or complacency dictate one's life. Mike started to share his experience more openly, not just with his family, but with others in his community and beyond. He was invited to speak at local health fairs, schools, and even on a regional radio station, where he discussed the importance of early intervention in health matters and the risks of ignoring symptoms, no matter how trivial they might seem. His story resonated with many, particularly those who had put off addressing their own health concerns due to fear, lack of time, or simply because they thought the issue wasn't serious enough. Mike became somewhat of a local hero, not because of what he had endured, but because of the lessons he imparted. He emphasized the importance of listening to one's body and seeking professional advice, no matter how daunting it might seem. Mike's journey also led him to become more involved in his community. He volunteered at local health clinics, sharing his story with patients who were nervous or uncertain about their own health issues. His down-to-earth manner and first-hand experience made him a relatable and comforting figure. People appreciated his honesty and the way he turned his ordeal into something positive, using it as a platform to help others. Beyond his health advocacy, Mike also began to explore new hobbies and interests that he had put on hold due to the discomfort and pain he experienced before the surgery. He took up woodworking, something he had always wanted to try but had avoided because of the strain it might have put on his head and neck. He found joy in creating things with his hands, crafting small pieces of furniture and decorations for his home and family. Each finished piece felt like a small victory, a tangible result of his newfound freedom from pain. Mike also reconnected with old friends and colleagues, some of whom he hadn't seen in years. Many of them were shocked to hear about what he had been through and were inspired by his resilience. These reunions were filled with laughter and stories, but they also served as a reminder of the passage of time and the importance of cherishing relationships and moments that might otherwise be overlooked. His family life flourished as well. Mike's bond with his grandson, who had been present during the initial, impromptu attempt to address the lump, grew stronger. They shared more time together, whether it was working on small projects in the garage, going fishing, or simply sitting and talking about life. Mike used these moments to impart wisdom to his grandson, teaching him about the importance of facing challenges head-on and not letting fear hold him back. Mike's story even had an impact on the medical community. His case was discussed in a local medical journal, highlighting the importance of thorough diagnostics and the sometimes surprising causes behind seemingly ordinary health issues. Doctors used his story as a teaching tool for medical students, emphasizing the need for careful examination and the value of patient history in uncovering the root cause of a problem. As years went by, Mike became a fixture in his community, known not just for the lump he had once carried, but for the strength, wisdom, and kindness he displayed afterward. His life after surgery was not defined by what he had lost, but by what he had gained: a deeper understanding of himself, a closer connection with those around him, and a sense of purpose that extended beyond his personal experiences. Eventually, as Mike grew older, he began to slow down, but the lessons he had learned and shared continued to ripple through the lives of those who knew him. His story was passed down as a reminder of the unexpected ways life can unfold and the importance of taking control of one's own health and well-being. Mike lived the rest of his days with a quiet contentment, surrounded by family, friends, and the knowledge that his journey had made a difference in the lives of many. And when he finally passed away years later, the community came together to celebrate a life well lived. Mike's story was recounted by many, not just as a tale of a man who overcame a strange and painful affliction, but as a narrative of courage, hope, and the enduring human spirit. His legacy lived on in the hearts and minds of those who had been touched by his journey, a lasting testament to the power of facing life's challenges with grace and determination. After Mike's passing, his story became more than just a local legend. It was a tale that resonated far and wide, inspiring people from all walks of life. His family, especially his grandson, felt a profound sense of pride in the way Mike had lived his life after overcoming such a bizarre and trying experience. They knew that his story carried lessons that were valuable to keep to themselves. In the months following his death, Mike's grandson decided to compile his grandfather's story into a book. He felt that the story deserved to be told in a way that could reach a broader audience, capturing the essence of Mike's life, the challenges he faced, and the wisdom he had gained. The book, titled *The Man with the Hidden Burden*, was a heartfelt memoir that blended Mike's personal history with the lessons he had shared during his life. When the book was finally published, it garnered attention beyond what the family had ever expected. Readers from across the country and eventually from other parts of the world were drawn to the story's raw humanity and the universal truths it conveyed. Many saw themselves in Mike's struggle, recognizing their own fears and hesitations in his story. Letters began pouring in from people who had been moved by the book, sharing their own experiences and how Mike's journey had inspired them to take action in their own lives. Some readers reached out to say that Mike's story had prompted them to finally see a doctor about a long-ignored health issue. Others spoke of finding the courage to confront personal challenges, whether they were physical, emotional, or even professional. The impact of the story was profound, as it sparked conversations about health, self-care, and the courage to face the unknown. The book also caught the attention of a documentary filmmaker who was deeply moved by Mike's story. The filmmaker approached the family with the idea of creating a documentary that would explore Mike's life in more depth, featuring interviews with his family, friends, and the medical professionals who had been involved in his care. The family agreed, seeing it as an opportunity to continue spreading Mike's message. The documentary, *Hidden Burden: The Story of Mike*, premiered at several film festivals and was met with critical acclaim. It provided a visual and emotional journey through Mike's life, offering a window into the challenges he faced and the triumph of overcoming them. The film highlighted not just the medical mystery, but the man behind it, his warmth, his wisdom, and the way he turned adversity into something meaningful. The success of the documentary further solidified Mike's legacy. His story was no longer just a local tale or a family memory. It had become a source of inspiration for people everywhere. Health organizations used the documentary as part of their campaigns to encourage regular checkups and awareness of the body's signals. It became a tool for teaching the importance of not ignoring small issues that could turn into bigger problems over time. In his hometown, a small park was dedicated in Mike's honor. It was a quiet place with benches, walking paths, and a beautiful garden where people could come to reflect. At the park's entrance, a plaque was installed with a brief summary of Mike's story and the lessons he had imparted. It became a place where locals and visitors alike could come to find peace and inspiration, surrounded by nature, much like Mike had loved to be. Mike's grandson, who had written the book and helped bring the documentary to life, often visited the park. He would sit on one of the benches and think about his grandfather, feeling a deep sense of connection to the man who had taught him so much. The park was always filled with people, some of whom knew Mike personally, and others who had only heard his story but felt a bond with him nonetheless. Years later, Mike's story continued to resonate. The book remained in circulation, passed down through generations, and the documentary was still shown in schools and health seminars. Mike's name had become synonymous with perseverance, self-awareness, and the courage to face life's challenges. His legacy lived on, not just in the hearts of those who had known him, but in the countless lives he had touched through his story. In the end, Mike's life was a testament to the idea that even the most unexpected challenges can be transformed into powerful lessons. His journey, which began with a mysterious lump and ended with a legacy of inspiration, showed that the true measure of a person is not in the obstacles they face, but in how they choose to overcome them. Mike had faced his burden with courage, and in doing so, he had left the world a little better than he had found it.